You've taken some.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Okay, but when I know that they probably taught you when you get disoriented underwater and you know something's not right. What do they tell you to do? What do you follow to get back to where you need to be? The bubbles. Why?
Because they always go up.
Right. Without some sort of forced pressure, bubbles are always going to go up out of water because they're lighter than water. So they're going to go this way, right? Now, they go that way if you're putting pressure and you're shoving the bubbles down like in a fish tank, right? We got that. But coming out of your respirator deal and all that, they're just bubbles that are floating freely and they're going to go up. You know this. But when you're underwater, you can get disoriented. There are things that your senses can get messed up. And you think, this is up. I'm going this way. This is the way I need to go. But they train you, or maybe you're going laterally, you're left and right, really, and you feel like you're going up, but you're not. So what they train you to do is follow the bubbles, because bubbles always go up. So this is a point where rationalism has to take over empiricism. Your empirical senses, your senses about you say, this is up, but no, bubbles are going that way. I need to go where the bubbles go. So there is some rationalism. There is also some still empirical data going on. You're seeing the bubbles. All right, so it's not pure rationalism. But this is an example of where your rational mind has to overtake your senses. And you have to go, no, something's out of whack here. I need to follow the bubbles because rationally I know bubbles go up. See what I'm saying? That's where your rationalism kind of kicks in a little bit. Another example, flying. If you're in a jet, if you're a jet fighter, I know a guy who's the first Vietnam fighter jet guy in the Air Force to get shot down. He's still alive. He's a friend of mine. He did all this flight training stuff, and of course now they got faster jet. He's been at Mach 1 and Mach 2, and I don't know how fast they go now. What's that? 4 or 5? Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know about that stuff. But basically, one of the things that pilots have to know, they have to trust those gauges, right? They trust their instruments. They may not be able to see everything going on or whatever, but they know, even though this doesn't feel right or look right or whatever, that instrument says I'm at this altitude and I'm bearing this degrees and this and that. So your senses get, your feelings and your senses kind of get put in check when that altimeter says a certain thing. You're at this height, or your compass says you're at this direction. You have to go by what those instruments say, not by the way you feel or your sense, your other senses. So this is kind of an example of where rationalism would kick in. Okay? Let's talk about Descartes. It's spelled René Descartes. It's not a girl, it's a guy. Not too many guys named René in our culture, but it was common then.
Is this part 2 of the
What's that?
study? This part 2 of the study?
We're still talking about rationalism.
Okay.
Because this is our main guy in the rationalist camp. This is our champion of rationalism. All right. He changed the way a lot of people thought philosophically, because he brought. Everybody was assuming empiricism before him. Everybody was assuming and taking for granted the 5 senses. Well, we all do our philosophy based on what we experience. Okay. He takes it a step back though. He says, wait. We don't want to start out here. We're going to start inside. We're going to start in your own mind. And he says a process that he takes us through is the method of inquiry. And 4 rules that he has. Number 1 is he is going to accept nothing that he does not clearly and distinctly know to be true. Now that's a key word. Underline that. Know to be true. Know. Not think. Do you know California exists? Do you really know California exists? Why do you say that if you haven't been there? If you haven't seen it? That could be a big hoax. People say they live in California and you find out it's a P.O. box. There's no California. Okay? Alright, so he divides big problems into small parts. He begins with the easiest things. And he makes periodic reviews just to make sure he hasn't left anything out. Alright? Just to make sure there's no mistake in his reasoning. He wants to be meticulous about his process. So Descartes is going to take us down a road of you don't know anything anymore. Okay? You just think you know, but what you really know is only one simple thing. And that's what Nero pointed out, that you're alive, or that you're a conscious being, that you have consciousness, that you exist. Okay? That much we can say we really truly know. I need to say write it down.
Is this what he went by, or?
What's that? Yeah, this is the method that he proposes in his philosophy, his meditations as they're called. This is the way he goes about his meditations and his communicating, in his writing to us, to his readers.
I've seen this in the book.
What's that?
I've seen this in the book. I just can't remember which page.
Yeah, this is in the book. I was hoping the clicker's going to work when I come in here. Ready? All right, let's talk about the method of doubt that he proposes. This is a process used to discover which propositions can be known with certainty. Okay, Descartes' method of inquiry and doubt are equivalent to an epistemological turn that takes place. And this focus, this shifts from what is real, the metaphysical question, which we're going to talk about metaphysics in the next chapter. Okay, so we're not there yet. But up to this point, philosophers were concerned with what is real, what exists in reality, what's out there, what's reality made out of. Okay? And we're still chasing that answer, aren't we? Scientists are still trying to figure out what's small. I don't know, we're down to quarks, and they found something smaller than the quark now, right? I don't know where we're at. I don't keep up with all that, but they're always trying to deduce things down to the common denominator, what's reality made out of. What can be known by the knower is where Descartes goes with this. He says, wait, in a sense, in a paraphrase. We're always talking about in philosophy what it is that's real. Wait a minute, what does it matter what's real? You can only know certain things. Now Kant's going to pick up on that. Immanuel Kant's going to pick up on that later on in a different way, but there's only certain things that you can say you know. And that's what's in here. Because ultimately, this could be all a big joke on you. It could be God is just having, he calls him evil genius, all right? And he's not being disrespectful. He was actually, I don't know what level his faith was or whatever, but he at least associated himself with the Catholic Church. So he wasn't trying to be, make God out to be a bad, character or anything, but he was just simply saying, what if? What if God is an evil genius and this is all a big joke on you? All right, and you really don't exist and you're just a figment of his imagination, so to speak. Okay, what if? Let's just throw that out. All right, well, even if that, you still do have a reality. You still do have an existence because you're conscious, as we've already talked about. So that's where he comes down with this. Okay? What do you think about that?